Good evening and welcome to the PSGL. The final round of Season 33 in the PlayStation F5 division takes us to the Autódromo José Carlos Pache at Interlagos, Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm Tom Kent in the commentary position, and alongside me is Logan himself. Good evening, Logan.
Good evening for the final time in this game, thank goodness. But aside that, yeah, this is the final race of the season, and going into the final race of the season, there is no championship up for grabs. Chris Hallett already won it before even the second last race begun because Skyline was absent, and he's absent again tonight. We have, it should be 14 drivers here, but we're missing one right now. If we just try and find them. Edrix isn't here yet because he's supposed to be driving tonight, but he hasn't got into the lobby. We had a couple of lobby issues, so we're going to take a few minutes to get ourselves prepared. As you can see, I got a little grid tonight because, of course, it's near the end of the season. There's not much up for grabs. Second place is pretty much determined as well. So Skyline opting not to race. I do believe Yannick and Sieb are still in a battle, but I don't think Yannick is here tonight. Yannick is not here tonight, Tom, no. There's Boita.
No, and we've got a number of drivers that are missing, but the battle for third place is still up for grabs because as far as the race for third is concerned, getting the table up at the moment that was shared to us in the Discord, thankfully by Alex, who was kind enough to dedicate some time in working it out for us. Yannick is on 51 points. He's 3 clear of Sieb, who is here tonight. He's on 48.
Yeah.
Boita's not around, so he can't get it. Coleman's on 39, Janicki's on 38, and Azim on 36. So the maximum you can score in the PSGL in a race is 17. So Azim can still mathematically get that if he was to win the race and get fastest up ideally, and hope that Sieb has an absolute nightmare of a race, which is very much possible in this league. So we're starting to see drivers ready up now, so it should well be 13, I believe, because Edrix has not made his way into the lobby yet. So we're just waiting for drivers to ready up, and then qualifying will begin. And whilst we are waiting, we may as well mention PSGL's title sponsors, GT Omega. Now you can use PSGL at the checkout to get 5% off on anything from the GT Omega website in terms of the products they sell, including gaming chairs, gaming gloves, you name them all. They're all there, and you can get 5% off on your next order. So it's very much worth it, as well as I've got a GT Omega gaming chair myself. I've had it for the last couple of years. It is very much worth what I paid for it.
Indeed it is, and I still haven't had one because I'm honestly poor. But we are starting to get ready up now. We have a majority ready to go here at the Autódromo José Carlos Pache, named after, I believe it was the 1973 Brazilian Grand Prix winner, I think?
75.
I think it was Brazilian. 75, yes. And that was his only win. And sadly he died. Did I believe he died in an accident? I can't remember.
It was in a helicopter accident in '77, and that was shortly after the infamous South African Grand Prix, which had nothing to do with his death, but it came just within a couple of weeks after that infamous event where Carlos Pache had that aircraft accident on his homeland in Brazil, unfortunately. So that's why the circuit is named after him, and God bless Brazil for doing that, because he was a talented driver, and on that particular day, 1975, where he won, he brought the crowd to their knees, and it was a very memorable day for him and for the crowd. They love their motorsport, the Brazilian crowd, and I'm sure they love their motorsport when it comes to the online stuff, and I'm sure they cannot wait for the next Grand Prix to happen this year. There's no Brazilians on the grid, unfortunately.
And it's wet. It is wet, wet, wet. Yes, he says infamous because it was unfortunately remembered for all the wrong reasons. The death of a marshal and Tom Price of Wales. Unfortunately, that was probably one of the worst crashes in the history of the sport. I don't want to mention what happened, but there are clips of it that's not very pleasant, in all honesty. But anyway, here we go on the grid. We've got 13 cars tonight. It is smaller, but that's honestly to be expected from an end-of-season race with nothing on at stake. We have a couple of drivers going out. Miguel is one of them, coming out of this very long pit exit, probably the longest, unless I stand corrected, the longest pit exit in all of the sport, coming through the city of the Is it the city of the Lago, or is it? No, it's not. I forgot the map. Preparations in the last race, you know it's going to be bad.
Watching Miguel at the moment, and it is intermediate conditions around here at Interlagos, so I don't know whether the track will dry out. We don't have the information in terms of whether the weather is going to improve, but the drivers will carry on regardless. It's probably good practice as well in case for any future races where intermediate or wet conditions are required for the drivers. This is what they dedicate their time towards, though. It's situations like this where you just gotta be prepared for, really. I know I keep saying prepared all the time, but it is a very important word in the context of league racing. And if you're not prepared to do it, you are prepared to fail. It's as simple as that. Miguel will be thinking about putting together a blinder of a lap on the intermediates as his start on the lap. So you can take the honours, Logan, and take us around this Interlagos track.
So you come through the first corner, which I do believe is called the Senna S. Yes, the Senna S before the Curva do Sol, heading onto the long back straight, which is known as Reta Oposta in Portuguese, the official language of Brazil, before slowing down to what is the City of Lago. I had to just double check if I was correct. I am. Oh, and he's one off the track. That's not good. He's not invalidated. He hasn't. The judges have not ruled that he has stepped out of bounds and gained any time. Oh, and he slid around the Ferradura there, and that's not what you want to do before heading to turn 8 and turn 9, Pinheirinho, as it's known in Brazil, before Pico de Pato. Of course, probably the tightest corner on the track. Is quite tight. It's probably going to slow you right down. A lot of passing opportunities there if you're feeling very sneaky. Before the infamous, is that what corner? Juncker, and he is sliding around all over the place. It's pretty tough when you're not driving with traction control. It's much easier if you are, but that's banned here. So across the line we come, past the pit box, and it will be a 1:19.24 from Miguel. And I believe there are a couple other cars coming around to start their lap, and Boy-Lulu's went off at Young Cow, or just before Young Cow. So there we go, a lap off probably the fan favourite track of the season, Interlagos.
Sieb is able to displace Miguel with a 1:17.4, so there's some work to do for Miguel. He did make a couple of mistakes throughout the lap. He slid through Ferradura. He also ran wide at Descida de Lago, and I'm sure he's had a few slides further along the lap. Giovanni goes up into second place. He's reserving again tonight, so he will score points for his credit, but not for the team, because the team can only score points from their full-time drivers within the PSGL. Alplos has gone third, only for a moment, because Alex has gone to the top with 1:17.4, beating Sieb's time by 0.03 of a second. The reigning champion, Chris Hallett, who's won 4 of the last 5 races, and of course this season's champion, has yet to make his way out onto the circuit.
Cherno coming through towards Junghau now. He's past the 1 minute mark as he approaches sector 3. A little slide out of Junghau, but he's all okay. And up towards Subida de Box as he goes, before Bancadas. I do apologise, my Portuguese is horrendous. And across the line he goes up to third place, bridging the gap between Sieb and Giovanni. Koman and Azam still yet to set a time along with our champion Chris Hallett, but I do believe Sieb is coming to start another lap here. He's probably well off the pace in terms of that previous lap, but now crossing the line to start a brand new fresh lap, as we've got a couple cars off, I believe. And oh, Joey going to the top at 1:17.0. He's yet to score a point this season, I believe, Tom.
He has, and he's had a rotten run of luck this season as well. Just trying to count the number of non-finishes he's had. I think he's had like 6 this season to his name. Alex has gone back to the top though, the first driver into the 1:16s. But going back to your query about Joey, because he retired from the last race in Jeddah, which has totaled a number of DNFs to 6, which is more than half of the races we have this season. That's not a good total, really, by his standards. He's a quick driver, but he's struggled to get to the end of races because he's been involved in other people's collisions, or he just can't keep the car pointing the right way.
That's unfortunately true, and you've got to be careful in this sport, because if you're not, you're going to get a lot of slaps in the wrist from the stewards, or even worse than that, bans, etc. when it comes to the stewarding, because they're very strict on these kind of things. They want to be seen fair play, not any dirty driving, as we have seen in some other divisions we won't mention. But it looks all good right now, mostly. There has been some incidents. El Piloter was banned for a couple of races this season. I do believe that's the only ban we've had this season. But other than that, racing has mostly been clean. It has been quite argy-bargy at some points, especially when the title's on the line, but no massive scandals, and that's what I like to see. We just like to see, remember, it is racing after all. These things will happen. We have to acknowledge that. We just want to see good sportsmanship from all. I think we've seen a lot of that this season, and hopefully we carry it on to the next season. In the new game, F1 23, oh yeah, they had a new deep dive release today, didn't they, Tom?
They did. It was on Friday when Natalie Pinkham went through pretty much the new features of the F1 game. Obviously, there was the mentions of the LaSalle and Las Vegas circuits, along with red flags that they were mentioned, and in terms of the features included in that, including adjusting your pit strategy, repairing damage, etc. And there was a number of other bits as well, which she went through. I think she mentioned like weather conditions as well, and all the other very specific parts, let's say. We won't go into too much detail in terms of what's happened. We'll leave that for all those who haven't watched it yet to have a chance to give it a watch. But it is worth watching, and the second episode of it will be released this Friday coming. So do take note of the diaries. I think it's something like either 3 PM or 4 PM British Summer Time is when it'll be published on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. I thought they released one today, but it doesn't look like they have. I thought they said an announcement on they would release something on Monday, but I don't think it's materialised. No changes in the lap times, by the way, but yeah, I'm sure there was supposed to be a deep dive episode today, but it doesn't seem to have shown up on my timeline.
Yeah, well,
Must have missed something.
Well, it was the 19th of May when Natalie Pinkham went through it at the end of the last video.
The 19th?
The 19th, yeah, the 19th of May. So this Friday coming was when they were publishing the second episode of the deep dive of F1 23. I mean, after all, we are only a month away from release, so it's probably a good time really to have... I don't know how many episodes they're doing. It won't be any more than 5. But we'll have to wait and see further down the line anyway. We've got over 9 minutes remaining in qualifying. In terms of the lap times, I mean, Seb is on a lap at the moment, but I'm just consciously thinking about what setups each drivers are going to be, each of the drivers are doing, because once they leave the garages, they are pretty much under part firmware conditions. So whatever they go into qualifying with, that's their setup for the race, unless you can change front downforce, because that's one of the very few things you can change actually. Within firmware rules because of the conditions. Seb goes second fastest with a 1:16.996. He's 0.03 of a second away from Alex's.
Oh, he's pit.
So the Aston Martin goes into the pit. So I thought maybe the code completed the lap unless he made a mistake at the last turn or something. But El Pelosi is coming through. He's not on a quick lap, so we'll come away from him. Coleman is on a lap and he's going quicker. So we'll stay with him for now. And Hallett has decided...
Chris Hallett's retired.
Yeah, he's done that in the pits.
First?
Yep, so he's probably thinking, do you know what? I'm going to give the back of the grid to race win a try. I mean, he hasn't got too many competitors to get by. So I think Hallett must know that the race itself is going to be in dry conditions and think, do you know what? It's not worth, bidding a set of intermediates on a track like this. So he's probably thinking about that for later. Coleman, meanwhile, is coming through in the Alfa Romeo. What is this lap time going to be for him? He goes past pit entry, so he must be setting a time here. And he goes to pole position. 1:16.7. So he was able to improve on his time. Looking at the amount of fuel he's got left, he's got like 3 laps of fuel. So he may do another lap from here, or just do a cool down lap and go again next time around. Lakita's on a lap also.
He might. But yes, 7.5 minutes to go in the session. 1:16.776 is the benchmark right now. Azam and Lakitu seem like the only drivers on a lap by the looks of it. Lakitu going faster than he did last time, but I only see him going up to like 7th or 8th right now. Coming through Subida dos Boxes, named after the old pit straight, which is not there anymore. It's now further up. It's further ahead. And coming to the line, he will go 7th, as I possibly prophetized. And Coleman is still out on track. I don't think he's doing another lap yet. He's not even close to the time he was last time. Are the conditions improving? I don't see much rain as there used to be.
Now, the rain seems to be reduced in its intensity, but it's still not the time to even think about going on to dry tyres. So I would probably say these are going to be the conditions for the remainder of this session, unless we get into the final couple of minutes and we start seeing drivers maybe trying a risk of going onto the set of slicks, and it's going to come down, I think, to last man over the line. Coleman is starting another lap now, though, and he's got the Red Bull behind him of... Is it Alex or is it Boyolili? It's Boyolili who's just started a lap himself.
So Joey coming towards the line to, I think, start another lap. And this will be... He had the top time for a while, but then it was taken away from Alex G, and now since it's been broken by Coleman, Cherno and Boyolulu has some catching up to do, and Boyolulu is definitely not doing any catching up, spinning around like a record out of turn number 5 there, the city of Del Lago, and he'll have to go again, I'm afraid. But Belby just about to get on track, starting a lap, as we see what looks like Miguel on the board now. Alex G on a lap, Coleman is on a lap as well. Coleman trying to extend his time. Yeah, he's much faster. I think this track has improved in terms of conditions. And yeah, it shows 1:16.587 from Cherno. That's the one to beat now. Alex G on a lap as well. Coming through now is Coleman, using every inch he can find to get ahead. But no, he's not faster. He's faster than last time, but not as fast as Cherno, so he cannot improve. This is good news for Alex G and Sieb, who are looking to improve, but Sieb, I don't think is... Yeah, Sieb is not setting a time right now, I believe. Alex G is, though, and he's on a little slide out of Young Cow for heading to the boxes. Can he get ahead of Coleman and Cherno combined? Let's see if he can. Crossing the line, and he does go fastest. He goes faster by just over a tenth, Tom.
He does. It's a very, very good lap there from Alex, but that shows that the conditions are improving by the second. Alex, on the provisional pole position, can he build on from his podium finish last week? That'll be a fun way for him to end the season the way he's doing. Miguel's gone up to 8th place, but albeit for a moment, because Lakitu has gone up to 5th position. He's got a reasonably good record around this circuit as Lakitu, despite the fact he's in the higher divisions compared to those further down. Lakitu in the past has had a 5th place in F5 in season 29, 6th in F2 in season 26, and the other finishes he's had has been outside the points, but he's finished every single time he's raced in the PSGL round this track. We've got drivers coming into the pits. They're probably thinking they may try the slate tyres in case the track does improve in like the final 10 seconds or so for when they begin their last laps. They have to be very clever here if they want to try and get pole.
Yes, they do. 3.5 minutes to go, and they're probably going to be doing a couple of laps, because you might as well doing it on the Inters, the least degrading tyre, the tyre that degrades the least. And Joey's back on the top. Well, Joey, who has scored no points all season, is finally showing what he's made of here. But it's only qualifying. You don't get any points for pole position, I'm afraid, Joey. It's only in the race, and I think they should change that next season. I should honestly be asking them if you want to change it, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen, because it is down to PSGL's heads at the end of the day. But that's the way it goes. If it's not broke, then just don't fix it, is the motto. But can anyone beat that time? Giovanni is in third. Who is coming to the line, Tom?
Well, El Pelos has gone through sector 2 now and is a couple of tenths up from before. So can he move up the order, perhaps move on to the second row of the grid. He won't go fastest, but I can imagine he'll go onto the second row unless he can find a bundle of time in this last sector. So El Peloto crossing over the line, and he goes up to fifth place. Yeah, so it was only able to improve by one position, but at least that's better than nothing. Seb is not on a lap at the moment, neither is Boyolulu. Azam is up from before in sector 1. And I don't see any other drivers on a lap at the moment. Just having a look to see. Alex is on a lap, only marginally down through sector 1, and he's lost time in sector 2. So at the present moment, who did I say it was? Azam is on a lap. So we'll stay with Azam for now as we enter the final couple of minutes in this qualifying session here in Brazil.
2 minutes to go. And I see El Piloto is absolutely grinding all the fuel down by going on first gear and just revving the engine up. Oh dear! And there's been an incident there. That's Syed, who's went off. Is he trying to avoid El Piloto there? I think Syed was caught off guard there. I think he might have damage, I fear, as he lets through Alex G. Boyolulu. I think he must have been distracted. Now Azam's coming to the line. Can he improve? Goes to second. 22 thousandths slower. What's Belbelby got on his mind? He's going to start another lap. What about Coolman? Can he get a top? No, he cannot. He improves, but he's not improved enough. We're just about running out of time. El Piloto slipping and sliding everywhere. He knows he's got one lap left. He's trying to burn down all the fuel he has left, but he may be under investigation for his incident with Sieb. And Sieb is still on a lap right now. He has to start another one. Boyolulu goes up to 8th, but there's still time left to start another lap, and El Piloto's in the wall. That'll be in the end of his session. And Giovanno's got the top, Tom. What a time!
What a brilliant time. Doing that right at the end. And he's got another go at it if he's got enough energy. I don't think he has done. So, Giovanno is on provisional pole position. Joey is just about to start his final lap now. He's got time to get over the line. Azam, I don't think he's on a lap. But no, and Babelby has retired from the session. He's done that on the circuit, but I think he should be okay. Shouldn't affect anyone else's. Azam is crossing over the line now. Is this going to be an improvement from before? It is, yes. But only good enough for 4th fastest, so he's just behind. So who's going to be the next driver over the line then? Well, Coleman has invalidated his lap. Yeah, so that's him done for this session. Alex is on a lap, but looking at the other Rebel of Boyolulu, is he improving? No, he's not. Invalidated lap. Sieb is coming round now through sector 2, and he's miles up from before. So Joey has retired from the session. He's done now. He must have invalidated on his last attempt.
He did.
Yeah, so Sieb coming round in the Alpine. Can he end what's been a topsy-turvy season for him on a high note and get up there at the front? And Lakita unfortunately has parked in a dangerous position on circuit, so he'll be starting from the back of the grid. He was down, well, towards the back anyway, so it doesn't, so it shouldn't make too much difference. Alex is coming through though in the Red Bull, and he goes only 4th. He didn't actually improve on his last attempt. Cherno's coming round though. He improves his time, but does not go to pole.
No, not enough. And Miguel's the last to set a time, but I don't think he's going to get any higher by the looks of it. Lakitu will be starting, well, he could have started 10th, but he's going to be starting 13th, and Miguel goes 7th to conclude the session, and it is Giovanno, the reserve, on pole here in Brazil, and Chris Hallett will be starting in 12th. It would have been last, but Lakitu, disqualified for parking in a dangerous location, will be forced to start at the back instead. So it's Giovanno, Cherno, Sieb, Alex G, Azam, Joey, Miguel, El Piloto, Kuhlman, Boyolulu, Belbelby, Chris Hallett, and Lakitu, which is your grid for this final race on F122.
Yep, and it's the 33rd season as well that will be concluding this evening. Of course, we've had we are having the top 8 divisions within the PlayStation ladder of the PSGL competing tonight. Some have already done their races for another campaign, but we've still got some more lined up, including this one. So Giovanno taking his first pole within the PSGL by my record. And it was a very, very good lap right at the end. He timed that to perfection pretty much. Cherno will be hoping to end what's been a troublesome season, it has to be said, because I don't think he's finished any higher than. Let's just have a look at his record this season. He hasn't finished any higher than 4th in any of the races this season, as far as I know, unless I am mistaken. Just having a look on in Jeddah last week, because that hasn't quite been updated as far as the thing is concerned. I think no, he hasn't finished any higher than 4th. But it's dry conditions here in Interlagos. Can Chris Hallett go for what would be can it be a 7th win of the season or 6th? Yeah, I think he can get 7 wins this season, Chris Hallett, which would be absolutely remarkable. We don't know what tyres each of the drivers will be starting the race on yet, but we'll find out as the race goes on. Will the weather intervene as well? We don't have any information on the radar in terms of whether it's going to rain or not.
No.
We'll just have to find out as the race progresses, unless any of the drivers can inform us on the situation in relation to that. I will give another mention to PSGL's title sponsors, which are GT Omega, and you can get 5% off at the checkout for any of their products. Should you wish to get like a gaming chair, for instance, or gaming gloves, or a wheel, whatever it may be, it's all there. You feel free to check out the GT Omega website for anything that you may be interested in. We're 10 seconds away from the race start. There's no formation lap, so we'll be going straight to lights out for the final race of Season 33 in F5 PlayStation, the PSGL. The 5 red lights are on. When they go out, we'll be racing at Interlagos. It's lights out, and away we go. Givano gets off the line. Okay, Cherno looking to give chase as they go towards the short run down to turn 1, but Givano stays in front for a moment. Cherno's tipped him round. Unbelievable stuff, and someone has lost the front wing. Siab has moved into the lead ahead of Miguel. Asim's in 3rd place. It's Coleman in the 2nd Alfa Romeo in 4th position. It's Boyalilu, but Belby's up to 6th. Chris Hall's up to 7th place. Disaster for the front 2 on the grid, and it looks like the Keto had jumped the start, Logan.
Yes, he did. He's got a drive-through penalty. Absolute chaos. Givano goes from 1st to last. Meanwhile, Chris Hallett's halfway from last to 1st. And he's going to get even more help if these drivers keep on fighting. Miguel's was side by side with Azam into the Pierino, and behind him is Coleman. Let me just tell you right now.
There's incidents.
Sorry.
There's an incident.
There's a lot of incidents.
Yeah. It was almost become gridlock at Beacon de Pato, and it was Coleman, I think, got held up in all that. Alex has got a time penalty already for track limits. We haven't completed lap 1 yet. I'll let you take over, Logan.
My goodness me, and looks like Boyalulu is suffering. Boyalulu, what is going on? Boyalulu is getting absolutely trounced by Chris Hallett, and look, Coolman's right up ahead, and Lakita, what is going on? Lakita's already got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I think there's been another penalty for someone, sorry, speeding in the pit lane. And Chris Hallett is already up to 5th from 12th on the grid. That is insane starts. Chris Hallett showing why he is the champion. Sure, he got a bit of assist, but he still had to make his way through and survive the darn thing that happened. Sieb is in the lead from 3rd. Azam's from 5th to 2nd. Miguel's from 7th to 3rd. Coleman's from 9th to 4th. And Chris Hallett from 12th to 5th. What is this game?
So Hallett moving up very nicely. You have to remember, he started on the mediums. I think he's one of 2 drivers that started the race on the mediums. Boyalulu was the other one. Alex and Joey, who started on the hards, have gone onto the mediums now because both of them had pitted. But yeah, it has been quite a chaotic start with the collision between the front 2. That'll definitely be under investigation. Outblows off the circuit because Babelby has gone for a spin. They've both continued though, and Givano may be able to take advantage of Babelby's melodies. So coming round to the end of the 2nd lap, and Siab with a new fastest up of the race, but I'm sure that will come down in due course. Azam in 2nd place, as it stands, with Azam where he is, if I think Yannick will still take, oh no, Siab will take 3rd place in the championship overall, because he would be on course to clinch the points he needs to overcome Yannick in the race for 3rd position. Hallett has moved in front of Coleman for 4th position.
He is on fire! Chris Hallett showing no mercy, being so ruthless. Who cares if he's got the championship already? I want more! I want more! I want to win all the races! Trying to be Max Verstappen 2.0, it looks like. As now, he's on medium tyres as well, I should mention, so he'll have to start on the slower compounds when he comes out of the pits. But I'm sure with them all levelling out when we get to the end. He might still win this race, you never know. But he is currently 4th, and now he's chasing down Miguel for 5th. I don't know what, for 3rd, I don't know what I'm watching here, Tom, but this is some sorcery from another planet. I cannot believe this.
Yeah, and he's on a charge, and he's got the DRS open, but so has Miguel, because he was within a second of second place Azam as they go over the line. Chris Hallett with a new fast lap of the race, 1 minute 10.6, as the Alfa Romeo of Miguel has run wide through the centre rest, and that's going to give Hallett the opportunity to get into the slipstream, open the DRS, and pull alongside and go through. And that is the champion of this division, moving up into 3rd place on track.
Miguel didn't even stand a chance going through there, and now he's already within 6 tenths towards Azam. This is unbelievable, and it's only lap 4, by the way. He's made up 9 positions. 9! And we've only gone through 10% of the race. There's such a long way to go, 32.5 laps. Good luck trying to top this one for performance of the season in this division, because I think we've just seen it all now. Here in PSGL, Chris Hallett, we're just lauding him now. We're just giving him all the praise we can find left from our lungs, because honestly, this driver's going places, Tom. This driver has been absolutely flawless
this season, not just this race so far, and Hallett will be looking to move up into 2nd place very shortly. How much of a fight will Azam put up here? He may fend him off through turn 1, but he may not do as they go down to turn 4, coming out of the centre rest, or the Curva de Sol I should say, and onto the Retro Reposta. Now Hallett is going to pull alongside. Azam isn't fighting this one, and that is an easy overtake for Hallett to move up into 2nd place. I think Azam knows that Hallett's on a different strategy anyway, so there's no point in fighting, otherwise he'll have lost ground to race leader Sieb.
Indeed, that's probably what the concerns are about for all the other drivers. They don't want to mess around with the faster driver, because they know they'll be coming back when they get in the pits. They'll be on the faster tyre, and Chris Hallett will be on the slower one. You have all to do. Oh my goodness, I thought he had a slide there, but no, it's just my conscience. Sieb is just only 1 second ahead. Now it's under 1 second. Sieb is not going to fight this one for sure. Chris Hallett on the charge with medium tyres, but he's also had to find every inch he can find. And honestly, I can't see a more flawless drive from anyone around this track. Chris Hallett proving why he's the champion. Chris Hallett just making light work, and Joey's on the scoreboard in terms of penalties. By the way, Alex now has 8 seconds because he sped in the pit lane along with Lakitu. So Lakitu now has a 5-second penalty, and which is not good. Actually, does he still have the drive-through penalty? No, he's served the drive-through because he had a jump start, so he had to serve it on the first lap. So that's out of the way. Joey is, well, I hate to say it, but he's not, it's not like he's not used to this. He has been used to this all season. He just can't get anywhere, Joey can.
Just to be informed that Miguel has got past Coleman, although Miguel was already ahead of Coleman. So Miguel is actually in front of Coleman now in 4th position, Coleman down to 5th. Now Miguel, as far as the championship is concerned, looking at whereabouts he is, I'm just trying to get the table up again. Just pardon me for one moment. Miguel's only picked up 12 points at the moment. He's in 17th place. So if he can get a podium out of this, that would move him in front of Kyle, Boilulu, Lakitu, and Leon potentially. So you never know as the race goes on. So a lot can still change as Hallett looks to make a move on Sieb very shortly. He may not do it into turn 1, but he'll probably do it on the run down to turn 4 into Cesar de Largo.
Yes, indeed. So here we go. 4 tenths the gap now, and Sieb knows what's coming. He can see it in his wing mirrors. Chris Hallett's right on his gearbox. Chris Hallett is going to make some light work of Sieb, and Sieb, no challenge from Sieb. He knows what's going on, and he lets Chris Hallett by, and Chris Hallett now takes the lead from 12th on the grid. It just shows that he is the supreme driver of this division this season, and honestly, there's no stopping him. Now, his task is to build up as big a gap as he can to try and win this race when he eventually comes into pits.
Hallett building on. He'll want to try and get out that 1 second window, but he knows that his mediums will at some point soon fall off the cliff, and that's going to allow those on the hards to close back in a little bit. So he'll want to try and push on and manage the tyres at the same time, so he's got a good gap for when he does pit in. I suppose it could come down to who decides to pit in also. because those on the hard tyres will want to move on to the mediums as soon as possible, because obviously they provide more grip in the long run in this race. So Hallett is just focusing on the job ahead now, but he is not quite out of DRS range, but Sieb isn't close enough to have a go at the moment.
So here we go. It looks like we have a battle between the two Alfa Romeos. Nope, they're letting each other through. Coleman has been let through by Miguel, and Miguel's task now is to fend off Boyalulu. Boyalulu is on a much faster compound, and I think Miguel, being Mr. Ministry of Defence for Alfa Romeo, is going to try everything he can do to get... Oh, dearie me, he went very fast into that corner, Miguel did, and he nearly hit Coleman. And I think Miguel's task is to keep Boyalulu at bay with some defensive driving here. And Boyalulu trying to get past, he can't seem to be doing it. And Boyalulu is not very happy with this, but Coleman trying to run away into the distance, but he hasn't really done that yet. He's only got 7 attempts, but trying to extend, and Boyalulu will have the DRS going out of it, but so will Miguel, so it's not going to be easy for Boyalulu on this. And he can't seem to get anywhere near Boyalulu, so this isn't good for him. And then there might be another switcheroo here, actually. Miguel might use DRS to get past Coleman, Tom.
But the more time they keep battling or allowing each other through, they are losing time to those further ahead. So they need to find a plan and just stick to it instead of just changing positions all the time, because that can't really be part of the plan either. Azim is close enough to Sieb at the moment. Sieb is out of that DRS range to Hallett in front, so that's going to give Azim the opportunity to close in, but very, very close from Azim running into the rear of Sieb. But I think this is very much inevitable, really, that Azim will get past. But when is he going to decide to do that? Is he going to do that now and potentially risk losing ground to Hallett in front? Or is he going to sit back and just let Sieb maybe close back in on Hallett? Because Hallett's tyres will surely be falling off the cliff very shortly.
Yes, they will. I'm not sure what the tyres are. I've missed the graphic. I think like 14, 15, 16 laps. That's what I saw. I can't really remember that much, to be honest. In my opinion, one-stop strategies aren't... Not everyone is a fan of them, but they have been around for pretty much almost every race this season. It's been medium through hards and the softs, honestly, unless it's a safety car. Haven't seen any appearances, but here we go. Azim and Sieb side by side for second place. And Azim gets through into second place. And this is only helping Chris Hallett. Now he has gained a little bit of time. Looks like the strategy from Alfa Romeo has worked. The gap is extending between Miguel and Boyalulu at 7 attempts. It was 4 attempts, but doesn't seem to be getting any closer. Meanwhile, further back, Joey RC still in last place, 1.5 seconds behind Alex Tachi, who has a bunch of penalties, remember. But yeah, still Chris Hallett trying to run away as much as he can, but he's got to run away soon because remember, he's got a pit earlier than all the other drivers.
Hallett with a 1.7 second lead now, 1.8 seconds over Azim now. He really is pulling clear of the rest, showing why he is the champion. He cannot wait for F1 23 to begin, and he'll be awaiting which division he'll end up in season 34. But Sieb is trying to fight back on Azim. Azim wasn't very quick down the straight because he perhaps wasn't using as much ERS, and that takes me to the telemetry. How much ERS has each driver used up so far? Well, Hallett's down to his 20%. Azim's got more in stock though, so he'll be able to use that to pull away from Sieb and close in on Hallett a little bit. Coleman is around about the same as Azim. Miguel's used a little bit more. Boyalulu's conserved a lot though, Logan. So what strategy could that be for Boyalulu? Because you'd have thought maybe he'd have used up a little bit more before he's come in for his pit stop.
Well, he's losing a lot of time now, so I'm not sure if it's the medium tyres or the Alfa Romeos are just too quick for him. But yeah, he doesn't seem to be using a lot of energy. That is surprising me. So I think he is saving it for until he pits. And with the addition of having the softer compounds, although they are starting to fade, I think he will use that to his advantage and probably mount another challenge on the Alfa Romeos. But I should also mention the gap is starting to close now between Azim and Chris Hallett. I think Chris Hallett's starting to Oh my goodness, and there's a battle for 8th, I should mention. El Piloto and Giovanni getting very close. Giovanni gets the move and he's up into 8th place, but El Piloto will be coming right back at him. Oh no, he nearly hits him too. He doesn't make a move, and in fact goes a bit wide on the entry to the Senate S, and he'll be mounting another challenge coming out of the Curva de Sol, and now down the Retro Poster 2 to the City of Delago. Giovanni's got closer to Cherno than he is to El Piloto. Meanwhile, the two Alfa Romeos are still close to each other, keeping their friends close, but they're trying to keep their enemies even closer because they don't want Miguel letting Boyolulu through and attacking Coleman. That's the strategy the two Alfa Romeo boys have, by the looks of it. But yeah, Boyolulu, I'm surprised. Yeah, you're right. He isn't used to much of his energy, and I would probably be using more at this rate if we want to get anywhere close, because if he's not, especially this compound, then he's losing time. He's losing it.
He's got all that in store, so you may as well start using it now, because when you come in for a pit stop, it automatically restores your energy pretty much. But we'll leave that for him to the side. The two Alfa Romeos in 4th and 5th, having a reasonably good race so far, despite the carnage that we saw at the start between the front two on the grid, Giovanni and Cherno. Cherno is in front of Giovanni at the moment, and are actually fighting over 7th position. So we could see a little bit of handbags coming out in a moment between these two. Hopefully nothing more than that. But nothing personal from either of them, as Giovanni cleanly gets past Cherno, although he'll probably have given him a little bit of a fisting as he went past.
Yes, he did, and Cherno now has to watch and look on as Giovanni starts to run away, but Cherno trying to mount another challenge on. He's not got much DRS energy compared to Giovanni, but Epilota has a lot of energy. He might as well use it. They're all on the same compounds, and I hope they're conserving it better. Oh, and Miguel spun! Miguel has spun on the approach to Young Cow, and he's lost all them positions, and this means Boyolulu, Coleman is pretty much exposed to Boyolulu. He's got no one to cover him, has Coleman. He's pretty much naked in that car. I know that probably wasn't the right phrasing, but there we go. And Cherno and El Piloto are doing battle into the Center S, but Center S winner out of that corner is El Piloto. And now he'll be chasing down Giovanni, but here comes Cherno again. He's mounting another challenge now. He might as well try again, but he's not even come near the McLaren driver, and up to 7th place he goes. By the way, these three drivers having some old scrap here. There's respect for scrap between Giovanni and El Piloto, and now El Piloto and Cherno. These three could be going on for the next few hours, you never know. Also, Joey starting to catch up to Alex the G, who's had a horrendous luck this season, I have to mention, especially the disconnections he's had, Tom.
He's had a lot of them this season, and understandably frustrated, but he has done some wonders in the past though, has Alex. He's just looking at his previous stats in previous seasons. Season 32 was 4th with 61 points, including a victory in Austin, and in season 31 in F7 again, 4th with 60 points, including a win in Austin. So he's had he's had a better season in those campaigns than he has done in this season. And I just hope that next season, whichever division he ends up in, luck will be more on his side in F1 23. But Belby's got past Miguel now, so Miguel is very much beginning to struggle. I think those rear tyres will have been affected off that spin. So if I was Miguel, I'd probably consider pitting.
Yeah, I would indeed. So here we come through lap 15 of this race. Here at the final race on F1 22, the final race of season 33 in PSGL Brazilian Grand Prix, or the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. I think they call it Sao Paulo Grand Prix now, but that is the finale here, and we had quite a crazy start to the race. Literally the whole field turned upside down. Chris Hallett from 12th is in the lead by 2.3 seconds as Laskitu gets another penalty. The bottom three all got penalties. Everyone in the points has kept it clean. Good on them. And looks like Cherno's still trying to find some ground to mount another challenge. El Piloto has not done anything in terms of trying to get past Giovanni. But now hopefully Cherno will have a chance, but he just can't seem to use anything out of the DRS he's been gifted by the detection zones. as Koman is starting to close up on Sieb. He is 6 tenths behind, and it's about half a second now as he comes into the city of the Lago. And Belby just going right off the track there at the Curva do Sol and loses position to Miguel, who lost positions earlier by going off himself, but now he's back up to 9th place.
Miguel through and up to P9, Belby down to P10. Miguel looking to earn some points. He's got a good chance to do that considering the field is reduced this evening. Cherno in 8th, El Plo to 7th, Giovanno running in 6th place, recovering nicely after that first lap collision with Cherno at the start. Biolilu is in 5th place, he's had a good race so far. Kuhlmann right behind Sieb now, who's really struggling on the hard compound sides. I don't know whether he's made a mistake somewhere, but he is not as quick as what. Yep, so Haller is in for his stop, but we want to just keep an eye on Kuhlmann as he goes to the outside. Sieb won't fight this one, and Kuhlmann up nicely into P2 on track.
And now El Peloro in a battle with Giovanno as Chris Hallett puts the hard tyres on, but doesn't look like Chris Hallett. I can't really see what's going on, but Belby and Miguel fighting through the Senna S. Now, where is Chris Hallett going to come out? Is he going to come out with these drivers? Surely not. No, he's not. He's too far behind as Miguel and Belby battle for what is now 8th place on the track at the moment. And through goes Miguel into 8th place. But now here he comes, Chris Hallett on the fresh hards as Belby and Miguel still fighting, by the way. But Belby gets back ahead into 8th place. What's Miguel going to do here? Oh, he's had a slide. Well, that's going to lose him time. That's going to lose him time there. And he was going to try a dive, but he's not going to be doing that now. He's too far behind. As we still have a battle for what's now 5th place. It was 6th, but now it is 5th place as Chris Hallett's pit. So it's Cherno who has the advantage right now. He can go for the move, and he has some DRS. So does El Pelota, though, so they might be using the battery. So here we go. Is anyone going to be using... It doesn't like they're going to be using the battery, but it looks like Boralulu is coming to the pits, the other medium tyre driver in the top 10. So that will advance the drivers another place now. And I'm sure Chris Hallett will just go through into 9th as he starts to gain some time. On Belby and Miguel are still fighting. Come on, lads. You know who's behind you. The championship leader, the championship winner, I should say. Joey, he's pit again. Is he? No, he's not pitting for the retirement. He is pitting for the race. For hards, and oh my goodness me, Belby and Miguel just can't get a hold of each other. They just can't get off of each other. What's going on? Who brought this together? Look who's behind you, boys. It's the championship winner, Chris Hallett. Is there going to be a Hamilton-esque move if they keep squabbling? Let's see as they head into the next corner, and Miguel, Belby just still side by side. This is going to end in tears if they're not careful, you know. On board with Chris Hallett on my camera, as through they go Yun Kao up towards the final few corners. And this is a golden opportunity, but it is costing Chris Hallett time. Is this a strategy for Miguel? Belby still dived into the pit very late as Chris Hallett goes round the outside. Off Miguel going diving down the inside defending position, but it's all gone to waste because Chris Hallett is through into 7th finally, but that may have cost him a lot of time there as Belby puts on the mediums, but they'll be going 18 laps in this. It's quite unusual. He's going longer on these tyres as Alex G serves his penalty in the pit. Now he's already been on hard tyres, so he can go into a new set of mediums. He started on the hards, he pit early, so he is not in breach of the 2 compound rule, so hence why he has changed from 1 medium to a set of identical ones. But now Azam in the lead, but he should be pitting in any few laps.
So Azam in the lead, Coleman in 2nd place, it's Sieb as Coleman pits from 2nd. Now not expecting to go in front of Hallett. Hallett is already coming round the last turn. Now, Coleman's pit stop needs to be good, and Sieb is also in, as is Giovanno.
And Azam's staying out. El Polder and Cherno also opting to stay out, so we've got the undercut here from Coleman and Sieb. But Chris Hallett is going to surely overtake them all, except for, of course, the top 3 in front. And Alex G gets another penalty, just adding to his woes tonight. He'll probably be thankful that it'll be over after this, and you'll get a 2-month break. I think it's 2-month break. I think we're starting in July to make room for the release in June. And it's starting to get a little cloudy. It's not as much cloudy. Sorry, I mean sunnier. It's getting much sunnier, I have to say, as El Pelota is 10 seconds behind Azam and 1 second behind Cherno. Cherno starting to catch up again. And they still have to pit, so this will be an interesting to see, because remember, El Pelota, Cherno, and I think it was Giovanno who's pit, are already in a battle. So Giovanno will have to see, when these drivers, Cherno and El Pelota, pit, we'll see who comes out ahead. El Pelota's in, and Cherno's opts to stay out. He's going 1 lap longer, and interesting. So Cherno has done the overcut on El Pelota, who was being undercutted by Giovanno. Quite the interesting scenario here, as Chris Hallett now up to 2nd place. With Cherno still to pit, I'm sure he'll take the lead once again, but remember, he's got a fresh tired Azam behind, and the gap, as I see it, is 4 seconds, as Abel Belby sets the fastest lap, and Lakitu into the pits as well.
Cherno taking over the temporary lead then. 5 seconds clear of Hallett. I wonder whether he may decide to pit in this out, or he may decide to think, just in case there's a safety car, may have a free pit stop that could put me out, maybe on the soft compound. Lakito's in the pits then for another change of tyres. I think he's just gone back out again, hasn't he? So he's on the medium compound now, which should get him to the end of the race. Cherno, meanwhile, is continuing to set personal bests through Sector 2, and he's continuing to use the ERS as of when he's got some. So, what is he deciding to do? He's out. Okay, so he's in for the medium compound now. He was producing quite a mega in-lap, actually. He was on course to get his best lap of the race, even on 21-lap old hards. So he's in for his stop. Where is he going to come back out? I think he's going to rejoin behind El Pelota, which will be in 8th position.
And Giovanno has got out ahead of El Pelota, but his tyres are 1 lap older than El Pelota's. And let's see where Cherno is going to come out. Cherno, he's way behind. This has not paid off for Cherno. He's on fresher tyres, but he is much further back than he would have liked to be. He is 2.4 seconds behind, 2.5 I'd make it, as El Pelota starts to gain on Giovanno, as Alex G sets the fastest lap, but he's not going to get anything for it, because guess what? He's outside the top 10.
Indeed, and the key to Joey and Alex will be hoping that someone drops out ahead of them if they were to pick up anything from this race, particularly Joey, who has had a miserable season. Just 1 finish from 7 races he's competing in, and he'll just be hoping just to finish this race and salvage something from it. Hallett in the lead, on course for win number 7 of season 33. It would be his 11th PSGL victory of all time. I don't know who has the record for the most PSGL victories by one driver. I'd be interested to know about that. Either way, Azam's got the fastest lap point now. He's closing in on Hallett. He was 3.7 about a lap ago behind. He's now down to 2.5.
Wouldn't be surprised if the record holder was Big C. Yeah, but I think that's down to how soft the compounds are of Azam compared to Chris Hallett. On the much softer compounds, of course, remember, they will wear out earlier. So, you never know, by the time they get together, they could start to level out, and it'll be an even game, as we see the gap starting to fall again. I'm not sure if Chris Hallett's actually played this right. We never know. We could be completely wrong, and it could also be a safety car. Meanwhile, the battle for 6 between Giovanno and El Pelota still made a 6/10 gap. This is the closest gap on track. If I was Chris Hallett here, I'd be... How much energy has he got? He's only got 20%. Oh, we got an incident! It's Boyolulu. Boyolulu has spun at Yun Cao and is losing positions, heading down the field, and he'll be coming back in 8th place, and that's a boost for Giovanno and El Pelota, who are now battling for 5th and not 6th. El Pelota making some ground, but not enough ground, only 3/10 behind. Can he get anything out of Curva de Sol? Looks pretty good, but it's back to 5/10 now, and he'll be feeling it now. Giovanni will be feeling him right behind with the clean air. the DRS, but can't get past El Pelota. Giovanni let off again. So, Lakitu sets the fastest lap. He could get that if someone retires in the top 10, but we don't want to really allude to that too much. El Pelota really starting to close up, though.
Yeah, Alplo right behind Giovanni in the fight for 5th position. This has been some drive actually from Giovanni. He's 6 seconds behind Sieb, so the battle for 4th place seems to be a little bit of a tall order for him. But you can see Alplo wants to take that position away from him, and he needs to get this done as soon as he can so he can start closing on Sieb. El Pelota. So he's into... I think he's pretty much got this sewn off. You can see Giovanni got a really poor exit coming out of Yansao, and I think El Pelota has got him on a plate here, and he's about to go past with the DRS open. Giovanni tries to run him out almost to the wall, but El Pelota is having absolutely none of it, and he goes up into 5th place.
Yeah, and Giovanni cuts a lot of the curb there, but he's going to have a run up the Retro Aposta with El Pelota in front. He has the DRS, but can he gain anything for it? He's pushing. Is he going to go for the inside? Dive bomb into City of the Lago, and he pulls it off. Fantastic move from Giovanni, and he keeps his 5th place after all.
That was a brilliant overtake from Giovanni, quite late on the brakes as well, but it paid off in the end, and so he gets back into 5th position, but all this battling is losing them ground to Sieb in front. And Azam's got the gap down to just under a second, so he's within DRS range of Chris Hallett in front now. So is the battle for the victory very much on? It seems that way with 11 laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, I think Chris Hallett's being too relaxed at the wheel right now. But you never know. Have to remember, of course, these tyres are much softer. They will wear out much faster. And Chris Hallett's, although much slower, they are more durable. He could level it out if he can somehow keep within range of Azam should he eventually lose the position. DRS on for Azam, and he cuts the gap now to half a second. Azam almost won the first race of the season. These two were fighting for the win in Barcelona. Azam ran out of fuel on the last lap, though, and lost the race. So he lost the race to Chris Hallett, and that was just the start for Chris. He went on to win 6, what maybe could be 7 if he plays his cards right tonight. But it is just been dominance from Chris Hallett, but I do fear he's starting to relax too much in this final race. Meanwhile, El Pelota is still battling with Giovanni. Giovanni doing everything he can to defend from El Pelota after that brilliant move to get that position back into the City of the Lago. He just pretty much emphasized the advertisement slogan for F123, who will be the last to break. That would be Giovanni. Oh, here we go. We got a battle happening at the lead. I think you've got within 3 tenths, but as I'm starting to close up top.
Yes, I was just watching Giovanni for a moment because he had El Pelota right on his tail, but we will go back to the lead because this is important now. Hallett under threat from Azam, who has a kick of oversteer on the exit of Descida de Lago before they go back up the hill again towards Veradura. And Azam is very much within range to have a go at picking up a race win this season, something which he hasn't picked up, I don't think, for a very long time, if not ever, in the PSGL. He is a rookie, so he's yet to taste victory within the PSGL, and it looks like Joey has had yet another spin just as he goes through turn 2, and it's been a day and season to forget for him, and he'll just be wanting this race to be over as soon as possible. We'll stay with the leaders because Azam is right in his tail, Logan.
He is, and it's half a second, and Joey's had is he stopping on track?
He has.
Joey is stopping on track. This is not looking good. I fear what's going to happen because Chris Hallett and Azam are having a fantastic battle, and I fear it might be ruined by, he's back on the track. He's got back going. I don't know what happened there, but maybe he forgot to pause. But yeah, there you go. Chris Hallett and Azam still fighting. Here he comes. No, he's not coming in anywhere near. But Giovanni is definitely getting El Pelota close to him, and it's not what he wants. El Pelota having a chance. Is he going to do a reverse of what Giovanni? It's the rules are reversed here. He's not going to do it, though. He doesn't feel like he has the guts. And Joey spun again. Joey has spun again. This is just, it's just not been his day. But now, here comes Chris Hallett and Aston, by the way, they're about to overtake Joey. And I cannot see Joey's spun. He's just letting them all through. Okay, thank you. But now 9 laps to go. 8 laps to go, sorry, here when we cross the line next. And Aston really starting to gain, but he can't find the extra oomph to get past him. He just can't find it at all as Joey goes off again. Just ignore it for the time being. As the 2, 4th and 5th and 6th place drivers coming within 3 tenths. And now El Pelota has a chance. Aston has a chance. There's moves happening everywhere. El Pelota is going for a move on the outside. And back into 5th place he goes, or is it? It is, and Joey's retired in the pit lane. He's had enough.
And that's DNF number 7 for him. A season to forget for Joey. And he's got some time to reflect on what's been a really turbulent campaign for him. And Giovanni has got back ahead of El Pelota.
Again! He just will not give up.
And Giovanni up to 5th place then. He's 10 seconds behind Siab in 4th position now. So I think in terms of Giovanni getting back up to 4th place, I think that's pretty much a tall order now. He'll be hoping for a mistake from those ahead. Maybe even from the leaders, because Aston is right in the wheel tracks of Chris Hallett for the race lead.
He is, and he's starting to drop back, I think, Aston. I think Chris Hallett is set up more for the straights. I think that's why the setups have to be playing a part in this. I feel Chris Hallett is much more set up for the straights. I think Aston...
Oh, he's made a mistake!
He's made a mistake! Aston has a chance! Aston has a chance! Chris Hallett is in trouble! Chris Hallett has rarely ever relinquished the lead in this season. He had lost to Skyline in Mexico, I believe, but he somehow, I don't know how, he stayed ahead of that. I think he must have used his DRS, yeah. He used his energy, and he's only got 8% left by the looks of it. 10%. My screen's big enough I can read the little pixels that say he is somehow still in the lead of this race. But how much longer, that is the question. Have these tyres leveled out as well? Looks like the hard runners, are they becoming comfortable? They only pitted on lap 18, 19, and, well, the other drivers did, that was. But I should also mention, Cherno's starting to close up to the dueling 5th and 6th place drivers, Giovanni and El Pelota, and if they keep battling, it's Cherno's moves for the taking. It's still getting very close between the 2 leaders as well. 3rd and 4th is starting to get close too. There are battles everywhere, and I don't know which one to keep track of. Tom, which one are you keeping track of?
I'm keeping an eye on the battle for the lead because Hallett is almost out of his energy. I was looking at the telemetry, and Aston had 30% more ERS in store compared to Hallett. Now, you have to remember, he is on the mediums, which have done 10 laps. Hallett is on the hards, which have done 14 laps. So you have to say, Hallett has slightly more tyre grit left in there. So if Aston is going to get past Hallett, he needs to do it now.
He has to do it now, but he just can't seem to find anywhere to do it. He has half the battery left. He has fantastic energy left, but he's not using it. Is he just fear it will just drain like an iPhone would? All honesty. But anyway, El Pelota just getting so close again to Giovanni, but can't find the move. He's got to make the move quick, though, because look who's behind Cherno, who all 3 have been battling all race by the looks of it, and it just won't seem to stop. El Pelota is right on the edge of passing Giovanni, but he can't find anywhere to go for it without making some crucial contact that might ruin the race. The battle for first resumes as they head to the corner, but no move made yet. The battle for 5th comes through to the front stretch. Will there be a move from El Pelota? Will there be a move from Cherno? Here comes El Pelota. He goes to the inside of the Ferrari into the center S. Cherno looks on and watches on, but Ferrari stays ahead, and now Cherno's in the back of El Pelota and losing time, and that's crucial for El Pelota as well. El Pelota and Cherno coming through, they're almost hitting each other, and they come through, they're the city of Delago, and Still side by side, and the two drivers, they keep it clean, and they nearly touch wheels, but thankfully they keep it together, and Cherno now into 6th place, but it's cost them both some time to Giovanni.
He has, and Giovanni's run wide on the exit of La Reina, and he's already very much into the wheel checks of those behind. Cherno up to 6th place and ahead of El Pelota. The top 7 don't have time penalties to their name, so it's a clean heat to, well, it's very much a clean heat up until the checkered flag now, more or less, unless any of them do get chat limit penalties. But Azim, I think he's probably waiting until the last moment to get the move done on Hallett, but that's a risky business.
Yeah, it is, because his tyres will wear out, and it probably might level up towards Hallett's grip. I think Hallett's grip will be totally fine compared to Alice as the battle goes on for 6th position, and Cherno stays ahead, and Giovanni is feeling the heat now because he knows Cherno is charging. We could have a freeway battle for 5th place. Here comes Cherno, here comes El Pelota, but no moves being made. They duck out at the last minute. Oh, and a slide from Giovanni! And Lokito gets another penalty. And as Azim starts to close up again to Chris, but just can't seem to get it on. I think he doesn't want to make the move too early, Azim, because he knows that Chris Hallett will be striking back like a matchstick. Oh god, that was rubbish. But anyway, three-way battle. We've got to keep track of this. The three-way battle is just epic between Giovanni, Cherno, and El Pelota. Giovanni has just been pulling out all the stops today. He just isn't letting. He's just been Gandalf today. You shall not pass to Cherno and El Pelota. Giovanni just lets them through. Let's let them have their 5 seconds of fame. But no, you're not letting me through. I'm staying ahead anyways. But now here we go again. Chris Hallett and Azim starting to come close again. And a bit of defensive work from Chris Hallett. That probably might work in the long term. And he can't find a move, can Azim? The battle rages on for 5th though, Tom.
It is, and Cherno is still in front of El Pelota, but Giovanni is ahead of the pair of them. El Pelota looking for a move past the Mercedes, but he can't seem to make the move just yet. But Belby is running in 8th place at the moment though on track, but he has got that penalty hanging over him, which will drop him behind by a Lulu. So Belby will be dropping down a position, but at least he'll still end up scoring points at the end of the day. Siab right behind Coleman, not thinking about the move just yet, but this is the battle we want to be looking at. It's the battle for the race lead with just over 2 laps left.
The gap's now 4 attempts. I think Chris Hallett is much faster in the straights. I think he's much better in the corners now. I think they're level when it comes to grip, but who has the guts to get the glory? Here he goes, Azim. No, he is hanging on the last lap. I can feel it, and he goes over the curve. That might cost him time too. As Giovanni is starting to break away from Cherno, and El Pelota is struggling to get past him. Will he get him here now though? He's using his energy. You can see the green light on, and he's going to go, oh no, Cherno leaves the inside blocked. So El Pelota have to go around the outside, and Cherno makes a mistake, and El Pelota goes back to 6th. Meanwhile, there's still no advance from Azim. He's waiting till the last turn. Remember, these two nearly collided at the first race of the season, and Chris Hallett came out on top because Azim lost all the fuel in his tank, and Azim wants revenge at the 11th hour, and it is the 11th hour, it's the 11th race, the final race of the season. So here we go, Azim, for a grandstand finish, will have 1 lap to try and move past Chris Hallett and win this race. Chris Hallett senses him. He's using all the energy he's got. He's giving it the inside. Azim finds a gap and takes the lead. He says this is for the first race this season. And Siab has also passed Coleman. They're fighting for 3rd place. Chris Hallett has one last chance by the looks of it. He's out of energy. Azim's going to use the ERS to defend. Is there a final twist in the tail to this race? As Siab still fighting Coleman. El Pelota still fighting Giovanni. I don't know who to watch.
All the way to the end. It was a brilliant move from Azim to get the move done into turn 1, and that has put him on course for his first PSGL win and to end the season in style. Hallett will have to settle for 2nd place it seems, but he'll be happy with his season. But Azim is on course for his maiden win in this league, and what a time to end the season on a high. And Coleman, with his move on Siab, has moved up into third place. And El Pelota has just got in front of Givano as they go through turns 8 and 9. We'll go back to the leader. Azim in the AlphaTauri has got the job done right at the end of the race. Azim wins the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in the PSGL in F5 to end what's been a wonderful season. And Givano has spun as on the approach to Yonsal. That moves El Pelota up into 5th position. So El Pelota, right at the end of the race, has got his reward. He finishes in P5. Cherno comes home 6th, with Babelbi dropping behind Boyalilu at the end. Givano will finish in 8th overall because of Babelbi's time penalty. Miguel will get the final point in 10th. Lakitu will be behind or in front of Alex right at the end of the race. But there's your race winner. It's a new winner in the PSGL. It is Azim in the AlphaTauri.
What an ending. What an end of the season. Azim finishes the job that he wanted to finish at the start, but he got it done before the game closed out. What a win for Azim. That one is what happened in Spain. He's got his revenge. He's got his trophy. And it might be the end of the season with all the championship decided, but that will feel so sweet for the AlphaTauri driver.
An incredible end. He'll have taken that victory at the end with style. I'm just looking at what that affects in terms of the championship overall, with Azim picking up 16 championship points. I didn't quite pick up who got the fastest. I think it's Lakitu who's got the fastest, but we'll look at the classification in a moment. That moves Azim on to 52 points. That moves him in front of Yannick in the final reckoning, but I think Siab has accumulated enough points to get third place in the championship overall. So here's your race result then in Brazil. Azim wins with Chris Hallett in 2nd place. Coleman 3rd, Siab 4th, it's El Pelota 5th, had a Cherno and Boyalilu. Givano, Babelbi and Miguel are the rest of the point scorers. Lakitu finished in 11th, getting the fastest start, but no points for him. Alex was 12th, the last of the finishers. Jerry was the only driver to not finish. So Siab collecting 8 points, that moves on to 56. Azim finishing 4th with 52, and Yannick in 3rd with 51, and Coleman in 6th place. He has picked up a total of 10 points today, so he ends up on 49. So it's a close finish in 3rd place, but it is Siab who takes that position at the end. Skyline runner-up in the championship, but Chris Hallett with a total of, if I get my maths right, a total of 153 points. He is the PlayStation F5 champion of Season 33. A phenomenal season, Logan. In your last thoughts before we close the broadcast on F122.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Lakitu says, wow, that was fun driving alone for 35 laps, and he still didn't score. Joey gets, unfortunately, a goose egg the entire season, which is quite a shame to see, considering he had some reputation up the higher divisions. But this was all about Chris Hallett. He was pipped at the end, but he'll probably take that over losing the championship tonight, because of course that was already sealed a couple of rounds ago. Chris Hallett was just unstoppable until the end. It seemed to have just ended at the end. Azim had a final say, even though it was all wrapped up. What? You can't really script a better ending than that. A revenge story for the ages. Sounds like something out of WWE.
Indeed, and yeah, and it's been a brilliant season as well, with so many battles on circuit. The championship was wrapped up off the track, but you know, it's racing, sometimes these things can happen. But it's been a brilliant season. We've seen so much action throughout across the field, and we look forward to season 34. We don't know which division me and Logan will be commentating on yet, but I'm sure, of course, that will be decided in due course. But the next time we'll be racing will be on F123, which does not release until June the 16th, but the PSGL is set to start season 34 in about a month's time after then. So we've got a bit of a break before the PSGL returns. There may be some charity racing or something going on, or some one-off events that they'll be running before season 34 begins. But stay tuned. Do make sure you follow PSGL on the social media platforms. You can find them in the YouTube description of which you can follow and find out what's happening in terms of league racing, including the PC stuff as well as the PlayStation races that are happening. I will give one final mention to PSGL's title sponsors, GTA Omega. You can get 5% off at the checkout for any products that they sell online. So do have a look at that. Logan, your last thoughts before we go and bring the curtain down on season 33 in F5.
Gosh, you love that GT Omega company, don't you? Yes.
It's only
What a
courteous that I do
season.
that.
Yeah. What is this? What a season it has been. Um, I've just enjoyed this entire journey. I know you missed one of the races that was around, of course, round 9, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the season. I know there was a runaway winner, but all the action behind was just incredible. And some of Chris Hallett's victories even were epic as heck, especially the first race of the season. It came down to the final part of the race, and that just started it to unravel it for Chris Hallett. He just started to gain up all the points he could, and all the others slipped back and couldn't get anywhere near. And as a result, he takes home the trophy, the glory, and of course, a possible promotion to higher divisions in PlayStation or PC if he chooses. Or Xbox. I mean, who's going to use the Xbox? But yes, overall, brilliant season, and I can't wait to do it again on the new game.
Yep, and I can't wait for it, especially with the new features, including the red flags, the 2 new circuits of Lusail and Las Vegas, which I wouldn't be at all surprised if they were included in the calendar. We don't know for certain which races are going to be included in the season 34 calendar, but that's something for you to find out by following the Twitter account that the PSGL has. In terms of all the updates and things like that, so make sure you go and follow them. The link is in the YouTube description, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we've reached over 27,000 subscribers on the PSGL YouTube channel, which is a fantastic achievement, and we want to continue becoming more and more popular with all the racing that we've got to offer, including the PC stuff with the likes of Jono Otmir, Thomas Ronhar, and of course a lot of the others who compete in that. And with all the PSGL stuff, including the new champion Chris Hallett, which division will he be in next season? Will it be in F4? Will it be in F3? That depends on who signs up, of course. But whichever division he'll join, I'm sure he'll relish the challenge ahead. Logan, thank you very much for joining me throughout this season,
No
as well as
problem.
tonight. And we'll look to do it all over again in season 34 in around about a couple of months' time. I'm Tom Cairns, he's Logan, and we'll speak to you again soon when the PSGL returns.
See you in July.